Welcome, everybody, to Week 7 of the Excellency Mid-League. Again, I'm the Idea PC, joined by Stonefeld here on the analyst desk. Very glad to have you here, my friend. You've done some great work out there on YouTube covering the Mid-League, and that's something that I've definitely looked at and have really enjoyed. I'm so glad to have you here on the desk, my friend. But we are already underway here for the first draft of set number 1, game 1 of the Legendary Wolves going up against Glaive Esports Rose. And my friend Stone, already we're seeing that Seraphine band away. Hecarim and Irelia also to follow.
Yeah, starting to see some of the OP picks coming out as bans here. The Aurelia is something that we see a lot in amateur play in the games that I reviewed, and can pop off. It's a very safe ban for the teams here. The Skarner ban coming through as well, just trying to take some of those OP picks. Something we see a lot is some of these bans targeted at specific players, and we're not seeing that here. We're just seeing really strong general picks.
Yep, a lot of the stuff in the meta actually getting banned away here. We had the Rel hover there for a moment, but Jhin actually might be the lock-in. Nope, maybe not. Udyr gonna get taken away here from Legendary Wolves. And a really quick third ban there from Glaive Esports Rose, as they are going to take away the Trundle pick. So interesting to kind of see that all evolve as quickly as it did. But I think all things being said here, some good picks taken away here in general. And it's up to Legendary Wolves now to decide what it is that they want for their first pick. I think it's totally perfectly fine right now to go for something that is relatively strong within the meta right now. And, well, there it is. Rel going to get picked up. And Legendary Wolves, they thought about banning it, but they do have that first pick, so they can pick it up here nice, easy, and quick.
Yeah, Rel coming through is one of the stronger picks in the bot lane. We've seen a lot of professional players just being able to engage at a moment's notice. The flash into all of the CC that Rel offers is really good. The response here from Glaive is the Kai'Sa, and I think that's more of a takeaway. I don't think you want to let Kai'Sa Rel through this draft. Kai'Sa jumps in and creates a tether between the two champions, and you can just stun everyone. And then the Olaf coming through as well. It's just a really strong pick, getting something out of this draft.
Yeah, if they're looking at that pick right now, Olaf for the jungle, they kind of want to wait for the Legendary Wolves maybe to see what exactly that this bottom lane is going to look like. I mean, you have the Kai'Sa, which is such a strong and contested pick in the meta right now. I think it's perfectly fine for you to go ahead and pick your support later on into this draft. You already know that you're going up against the Rel, and to be honest, I'd rather have the support counter pick than the AD carry counter pick in the matchup. So I do like how Glaive Esports Rose is currently drafting right now. We do see the Jarvan actually getting picked up as well for the Legendary Wolves. So, we will end up seeing Peekaboo actually on that champion here. And Syndra, tried, true, never contested in the mid lane, will be the lock-in possibly here for Skiz, and has been really a staple of the League of Legends meta now for quite some time. So always nice to see that control mage getting picked up.
Yeah, and it's possible here that Glaive can just pick their mid laner as well. Something I note all the time as I'm analyzing these games is that teams are really willing to handshake this mid lane. Syndra for Orianna, just play safe. I would like to see in a matchup as important as this one, so they'd go for a counter pick in the mid lane. Maybe we could see an Echo or something coming out, but they're just going to lock in the Gragas. A good safe pick that they can flex. And I'm a fan of R3 flexing here so that the team doesn't know what to ban, right? So now Legendary Wolves have to kind of play with this Gragas pick. Is it going to the top side? Can it go support? Is it, going to be tank? Is it going to be AP? They don't really know.
Yep, absolutely. And I do kind of like that flexibility that you do have there, but it does also give the chance for Skiz to maybe put out some suggestions there of the mid lane and what they want to have banned away. And we're going to see that exactly here, which is the Yone that is going to get taken away from Tutamax here, who has put on some pretty really great performances, honestly, on the champion throughout this mid-league season 2. So I do expect that his champion pool is going to get possibly pushed down a little bit here, but Leona actually going to get banned away here. So Legendary Wolves, they really don't want to deal with that kind of the peel that Leona can provide in this bot lane, especially when you have some of these champions that want to be able to go all in, like the Jarvan, like the Rel, and Leona could be a pretty big counter to some of that. Galio, though, going to get picked up now for Glaive Esports Rose, and that right there is honestly great from Glaive. I mean, you have these flex picks. Galio can go mid, he can go support. Gragas can also flex between different roles, which really means that Legendary Wolves has to show their entire hand before Glaive Esports Rose has to make a decision on where these champions are going to go. Now, I will say they are maybe a little bit on the AP heavy side here, as you do have the Gragas, Galio, and some of the magic damage that does come out from the Kai'Sa. So unless you pick an AD type champion that is looking to maybe carry, because you can go tank with the Gragas, with Galio, you might be a little lower on AD than you might otherwise be. Quinn actually, though, is an interesting pick here.
Yeah,
She's been a lane bully.
Yeah, Quinn's an interesting pick here, saying that, you know what, we think that you're going to play Gragas top lane, and we're just going to pick for range. Oh, here we go, switching to the Gangplank. Okay, I like this much better. Something that scales into the late game, and I'm honestly really liking what I'm seeing from both of these teams, saying that we're not afraid of you in any lane. You know, we can counterpick your Syndra, we're not going to handshake. And here comes the Zed, right? So we're saying we're going to counterpick your Syndra. It's Zed here and a Gangplank. It's an absolute banger of a game, of a draft at least. There's in neither team really giving anything, just saying we have a plan, we're going to execute it, and you're going to lose.
Yeah, so I'm also just saying, I do have Tunamax, and boys, I also do happen to have the jungler for Glaive as well. Hint, hint, wink, wink. He's on Olaf. McShoots and Tunamax on this Zed and Olaf are going to be absolutely monsters in this game if they can get rolling. And on the other side, they could be absolutely in the dumps if they get shut down here early, just because of the scaling power of this legendary Wolves squad, especially when you have champions like Syndra and like Aphelios, and the amount of damage, absolute damage, raw damage that they can put out towards the end state of these games can be a little bit scary. So I do want to see Glaive Esports Rose really kind of take some initiative in the early game, which, given their history and their playstyle, has not been a problem for them at all. But Legendary Wolves does also have a little bit of counterplay, I think, here. The only problem is that Jarvan really cannot contest the Olaf really early in the game at any point. He does have to wait for support from his lanes, or to be able to kind of seize maybe some kind of gold or level lead advantage, which is going to be hard naturally against the Olaf and his insane clear speed.
Yeah, the J4 pick, I think, comes up in priority after they nerf the jungle just a little bit. And so we'll see here, we'll kind of get a glance at what it's going to be like, the Olaf trying to clear and take the gold from the minions, to where the Jarvan's going to try and probably play through some lanes. Maybe not, maybe sacrifice a few camps. I think a lot of pressure comes on this Jarvan, this J4 pick, because he is the bridge into the late game. Jarvan's going to be the one that has to make plays in the early and mid game to make sure that Aphelios and Gangplank can come online.
Absolutely, and I'm taking a look at some of the Twitch chat here. VD asked, so there's no flash on champ, just any time a flash would save them, or it is when a champion does not take flash. So in this example, it would be like Jarvan deciding that he's going to go Ignite Smite and taking no flash. Flag and drag your way out of every single situation. Maybe not the most realistic, but yeah.
Well, it's actually very possible in this game that the Olaf decides to go Ghost instead of Flash. So we could have a Ghost Smite Olaf, and maybe some people get to check that off of. I know some junglers have some differing opinions on exactly what you should take there, but I'm thinking of some professional play where that actually happens. So we'll see what happens here in the actual game. We can't see those summer spells just yet, so we'll be on the edge of our seat to see if we can get that one.
And, I do just, the second she does kind of remind me, and I know we're going a little bit off topic from the draft here, but there was an LPL game, Stone, that I actually watched last year, and I forget the team, but a player was on Graves. He forgot to take Smite, actually just forgot, completely forgot. And he ended up taking, Flash Ignite on Graves. Now, here's the thing, it wasn't a technical error, so they couldn't go back and fix it.
Yeah, it wasn't part of the game. It was a brain fart, right?
Yeah, right? So it was just oh, yeah, forgot to take Smite. Yeah, sorry, guys, you have to play it out. So, yeah, needless to say, he was way underleveled. But then here's the crazy part. The player actually got fined. He got fined by the league and the org for not taking Smite and then subbed out. So, it felt extra bad. But yeah, just a little funny thing about, certain champions not taking... that is okay. Hello. Yes, I am getting notifications. That is now off. You will never have to listen to that again. I don't want to either. Anyway, but yeah, it's just kind of interesting to kind of see what these champions can take and what they may take. But I do expect that this is going to be a fairly standard game overall, just looking at the champions. Although, that being said, we do have a Zed in the mid lane. So, what can we even say is standard when we have these champions that are so exciting to watch?
Yeah, I really like the Zed pick into the comp here. I choose to pick something that can kill Aphelios whenever he's on the enemy team. He's just so immobile, but if the Aphelios has really good positioning and can start getting some damage off, I think that Legendary Wolves have a good chance at this one. Mm-hmm. This is one of my favorite parts, is being able to sort of theorize about what's going to happen in the game. So look for Jarvan to make some early plays. and look for Aphelios to try and just scale, right? And see if we can get to that late game. And I do think that if this gets to the late game, the Legendary Wolves, I think, have it in the bag.
Well, very, very well, and we will have to wait and see if the Legendary Wolves can indeed upset Glaive Esports Rose. And again, they are fighting for that 6th and final playoff spot as we are winding things down here in the Excellency Mid-League. But do not go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to see Mac, Dewey, and Gungeon on the Rift here in just a moment. Do not change that browser. Do not go anywhere, and we're going to gear up and see you after the break for Game 1, Set 1.
Hello, Summoners. Welcome on to the Rift for the first set of the night. It's week number 7 of the Mid-League here over at Excellency Esports. My name is Mac Dewey, and joining me in the casting booth is the one and only Prince of Nepal. It's my man, Gungeon. And we have for the viewers tonight a lovely match with playoff implications as the Legendary Wolves are taking on Glaive Esports.
I am so excited, and again, this is the first time that we're going to be casting together, Mac, and I know it's going to be a memorable one as we see a little bit of an invade from either side, just trying to get some vision down to see where the junglers are starting. We were talking in during Champion Select, just between ourselves, about kind of how the draft went, and the pick that kind of rattled me was the Zed pick. I know you were talking about it as well. So how do you feel about this? Because I have a very strong opinion, but I want you to kind of preface this before I kind of,
you hammer into it.
Yeah.
It is a really risky pick, and we kind of see that by Totemax starting this Doran shield, hoping to try to survive lane. But I thought what Stone brought up about trying to get onto Epic Fail Guys Aphelios is a decent route to try to take for Glaive.
No, I agree. Again, Epic Fail Guy is who Legendary Wolves play through. A lot of times they do try to prioritize him in terms of just gold funneling, in terms of where they focus jungle attention. My fear is that when you have seen the Rel already picked up in round 1 of the draft, Zed into the Rel pick is going to be such a pain for Totemax. Like, you want to set up your players to have as easy of kind of goals and like the ability to execute what they want to do as easy as possible. But I feel like with this Rel, plus again, Gangplank is going to be absolutely no like joke as well. The amount of zone control that Gangplank buys with his ultimate plus barrel, like the fear is that Totemax walks into, gets into Zed ulti range, and is just getting hammered. Like it's like you're trying to walk into a convenience store and they're just throwing stuff at you. You're like, please stop! I just want to walk in. Help! But again, Totemax, we mentioned it during the drafting phase as well of our fantasy draft. Totemax plays a very strong mid lane. He's one of the strongest mid laners we have in the league at the moment. So if there's anyone that can get it done, it is him.
And this is going to be interesting to kind of see both of these teams play back and forth with these clearly differing team style compositions. And it kind of speaks to how these teams operate as a whole. You were talking about how Legendary Wolves playing through Epic Fail Guy consistently. Well, him getting the Aphelios and especially going against the Kai'Sa, I feel like Legendary Wolves are putting a lot of eggs in his basket, while Glaive, they're going to be relying on their playmaking ability and their pristine map rotations to potentially look for some picks with this engaged composition.
Yeah, and again, in terms of just overall team comp and how they want to play out the mid game and going into the late game, good trading by Totemax there. But in terms, going for it.
Oh, we got a trade in the bot lane going on. Epic Fail Guy is going to try to dish out the damage. Kiba getting real low from this Ignite. There's a lot of damage coming through. He's still got the Summoner spells available as Peekaboo is going to be joining this fight. Fitz with the knockup, but Fitz is getting real low. It's first blood going over to Issei. Epic Fail Guy looking for the snipe, but he can't find it. Mick shoots. Is going to try to look for something else here. He's got a lot of damage. He's on Mr. Olaf, and he's swinging that axe. That's going to be another kill. Going over to Glaive. Esports, they're off in the bot lane as they pick up 2 to start off this game.
And it looked so good. It looked like Issei had kind of... We are going to get a quick pause here, but we should be back in the game pretty much instantly. In terms of just overall that fight that we saw there, again, it looked like Issei kind of overforced it onto Fitz, wasn't able to get too much damage off, and Fitz was able to get the Rel engage onto both Kiba and Issei on the Galio there. But in terms of just overall damage, Epic Fail Guy just wasn't able to get enough damage, and at the end of it, there was just so much. All of the Kai'Sa passive had all stacked up onto Fitz, and they just instantly popped Rel there without her having the Aftershock available at that point. Again, great turn by the side of Glaive Esports' bot lane. And again, McShoots was in the perfect place at the perfect time. Catches Peekaboo as well. And now this bot lane is very far ahead for the side of Glaive Esports.
And we can't sleep on the most recent roster addition for this Glaive Esports Rose squad. Glaive Kiba is back in the mid-league and already starting to return to his terrorizing tendencies, as that's exactly how you want to start off this game for the Kai'Sa. The other lanes now, Gungeon, have been a little less exciting with Cute Raichu on this Gangplank pick, but the junglers now put in a very interesting position after that bot lane fight, because this Olaf that we were a little questionable about is getting ahead.
Yeah, and again, you never want to give Mr. Olaf, you never want to feed Mr. Olaf, especially in the early game. And it's going to lead to, again, McShoots now, because of the control he gets from having that kill in the bot side, Jarvan is going to have to try to farm up to try to get back in the level range. He's going to just be able to kind of rush this early dragon and just try to get dragon stacking started for the side of Glaive Esports. It's going to be good. Again, for the side of Glaive Esports, in terms of overall comp decision and what they want to do in the mid game, they want to kind of transition into that 1-3-1 style where you have Miho and Totemax in the side lanes while you keep this core of McShoots, Kiba, and Issei. The big thing is that with the Galio support pickup, Galio can kind of go off into the fog of war and always try to respond if they try to overforce from the side of Legendary Wolves onto either Miho or Totemax. So I like what the 1-3-1 comp is, and I think in terms of execution-wise, we've seen that Glaive Esports is one of the teams that can execute. Ooh, good damage. Again, Totemax is very close to that level 6 mark, so Skiz does have to be pretty careful here, but with the barrier, he should be kind of fine, especially in that early engage.
He does also have a little bit of cloth armor already picked up, kind of recognizing the potential damage output of Totemax, but already that Zed pressure giving him a little bit of a CS lead as we continue making our way through the early game. Checking in with the bingo cards. Unfortunately, it was a quiet level 2, no jungle ganks happening until, well, the bot lane kind of forced their hand. No turrets also going down, as this is kind of a classic early Glaive game, as they were able to pick up early kills, and now slowly but surely they're going to be making moves all over the map as Skiz. Flash available is going to be just trying to walk away, but has to flash. Totemax level 6, the death mark coming through, as that's going to be a kill picked up once again by Glaive.
And you were mentioning it. You were saying that you saw that kind of the lane state in the mid lane was so favored for the side of Totemax because, again, when you have your jungler ahead in the early game, you can't, as Skiz, kind of safely push up into that mid lane because of how Totemax had frozen the wave there with the risk that Olaf could always try to run into the lane. And we saw that happen. McShoots ganks the mid lane with Totemax hitting 6 and Skiz not hitting 6 at that point because of the wave freeze. Again, advantage Glaive Esports, and this 1-3-1 comp is getting stronger and stronger with the strength of McShoots, especially in the early game. He's going to be able to control a lot of these objectives, and it's going to get scary for Legendary Wolves if they can't get either some sort of win for the side of Peekaboo, because again, in terms of just overall jungle scaling and matchup, Peekaboo spikes at that level 6 point, and so that's going to be really big. Where is this Jarvan ulti going?
Well, wherever that Jarvan ulti is going, I'm just hoping Fit Chivalry is going to be along for the ride, because that duo, I feel like, could potentially turn things around for the side of Legendary Wolves, as we're getting a little bit of a look into this bot lane. Kiba already level 6, Totemax now on the Zed with a level lead, as things are really going his way. Cataclysm picked up for Peekaboo, but it's not like a Skarner ulti. Still gonna have to see some work put in to make those Jarvan ganks work.
Yeah, and with the advantage that Glaive Esports has picked up in the mid lane and with the jungler being so far ahead, they're going to be able to pick up this early first Rift Herald. And again, it's going to be probably just used to get some gold onto either Totemax or maybe Miho in that in the top lane as well. But just overall in terms of game states, it is a 2k goldie for the side of Glaive Esports. It is pretty large in terms of just overall, and we do see, again, McShoots is in that mid lane. This is going to get scary.
Skiz has got to be careful. He does have a lot of wave clear available to him on that Syndra pick, but he doesn't have flash. He doesn't even have barrier yet, and he's still waiting to hopefully buy some time with that stopwatch later. We might see something in the mid lane, but the bot lane's getting interesting as a huge double taunt comes through. Now Epic Fail Guy missing the Moonlight Vigil. That's going to be a lot of damage. Kiba is dishing it out. Epic Fail Guy not going to burn down just yet as Cute Raichu with the teleport coming in. Going to try to make this bot lane fight worth. That's a huge barrel explosion as the powder keg going off. Cute Raichu picking up a kill onto the support, but Glaive Esports, you take something from bot lane, they're going to get something in the mid lane. That's going to be first turret answered in a 3,000 gold lead. This game still in the control of Glaive.
And great play. Oh, we might see a little bit more, but oh
my gosh,
no.
Kiba,
He just
the
kills
snipe.
Kiba there, turning it around for the 1-for-1 overall. And again, now this is just so Glaive Esports' favor. They tried to make a play on the bot side. Again, for the side of Glaive Esports, it doesn't end up being too big of an issue, but if you are Kiva and Issei, when you have your jungler in that mid lane, you don't really need to try and force anything. They do end up just losing the 1 kill, and Kiba does end up picking it at the end. But Epic Fail Guy was sitting on White Gun, the Chakram, the entire time, and so when the 2v2 started, Chakram Aphelios is one of the strongest characters in the game. The amount of damage he's able to outplay, especially onto melee range characters like Galio kind of running into him, and might see a little bit in the mid. See, this is the fear, because now that Totemax is unlocked from that mid lane with his mid lane outer being killed already, he's kind of free to roam and just try to make plays all around the map. Kind of misses all of his shurikens there.
Peekaboo's still the one getting a little scared. He does have his ultimate available. The Cannon Barrage is going to be a little bit of a whip, but the Scatter of the Weak does connect. Fitz Chivalry looking for a potential stun as Q Raichu's got to be careful going up against Miho in the top lane. The Cloud Drake has spawned the second one of the game, and we got to be thinking Gungeon with a 3,000 gold lead. This is going to be all Glaive.
Yeah, if I'm the side of Legendary Wolves, you try to make it as slow as possible, but there's no way you can try to contest, especially against a Gordrink or Olaf at this point. He already has his first item, and there's no first items even close to being built on the side of Legendary Wolves. So you kind of just let it go, say, we'll just play for either third or fourth dragon, try to contest at that point. Maybe we're a little bit stronger. But the fear is, now that Zed has his Prowler's Claw, Totomax has had a very, again, lull of a laning phase, but with McShoots' help, he's been able to kind of expand his lead. His CS lead that he already had has kind of been expanded, and now Totomax is unleashed. And so we're going to have to see what can he get done, because a lot of the resources from the side of Glaive Esports was used in that mid lane to get him kind of out of this laning phase with the lead.
And this is where I think things start to get a little uncomfortable for the side of Legendary Wolves, because when the engage coming from Glaive Esports' his composition is so ahead as it is, that's going to be a lot of burst damage, but they're going to look to try to turn things around, as that's a huge Scatter of the Weak. The Unleashed Power coming through. Totomax going to try to flash away from this one, but the Cataclysm comes down, and Peekaboo with a slam dunk in the mid lane is going to try to get the Legendary Wolves back on track.
And Totomax just got a little bit greedy there. They don't have any vision in either of the side of the jungles for the side of Glaive Esports. Like, there's no vision in any of the entrances to kind of spot out if Peekaboo's even close to that mid lane area. So Totomax kind of walks up, doesn't have ulti at the time, did have flash, and just gets full combo, dies, and that's a lot of that lead. That's a lot of breathing room for Skiz. He's kind of now able to take a breather, come back.
He's got flash. Oh, use it. Kiba's gonna try to lock down the Aphelios, and you blink, you miss it. Epic fail, guys, deleted off the map as we got a 2v2 in the top lane. Ragnarok's gonna be popped. Peekaboo doesn't have the damage, but the parlay is gonna be
Mr. Olaf.
Nick shoots. Oh, he's racing back. Rock up from Peekaboo is massive, though, as Cute Raichu is gonna get a double kill by Kiba and Issei. It's business as usual for the Glaive bot lane, as they are just gapping right now.
What a pixel perfect knockoff by Peekaboo there. It was so close to McShoots trying to turn that 1v2 into a 2v1, into a double kill, but great knockup by Peekaboo, great awareness, especially in the early game. Again, you think of Jarvan as this early game jungler that tries to get some of these cheese ganks off at level 2. Totomax get caught out.
The ideal EQ combo. Totomax is gonna respond. He says, how do you like my combo coming through? Prowler's Claw in the shadow step, and he's gone. Totomax with a solo kill in the jungle. The Zed is unleashed.
Yeah, that's just, if we could describe any play as awkward, that's awkward. Oh, this might get a little bit awkward too.
Everyone better be careful about stepping in the jungle. Skiz, you're included in that category. It's a lot of damage, but Q Raichu going on a rampage. This Fitz Chivalry trying to help out. He's going to be able to do so. Epic fail guy in the bot lane, though. That's a lot of damage. 200 years of experience. Epic fail guy. Oh my goodness. That's going to be a kill going over to the Aphelios, and wow, this game delivering on the hype so far. What a sequence of events there.
And this is why you're always scared of ganking a Chakram Gun Aphelios. He's just 200 years. Mr. Olaf there. McShoots felt like he had that completely dead to rights. Oh, more.
Oh, Issei wants you to come into the Cataclysm as it's a 2v2, and Peekaboo may be getting a little scared, but he's going to try to dish out the damage. Kiba now on a rampage, as once again, he doesn't look at his own snipes, as he's got a double kill so far. Skiz, flash and barrier available, but he doesn't have his ultimate. He's going to try to have to make the outplay happen with just his basic abilities. Going to try to damage Issei a little bit, but Kiba playing it safe. Doesn't want to get caught out as he is coming back to the roster. I think this is his second or third week back, but coming back to the stream setting in a big way. 5-0-1.
Yeah, oh, there's going to be more in the bot lane, and Kiba is just absolutely dumb. Oh, what great play from this Glaive Esports bot lane there. And again, you mentioned how big of a kind of monster Kiba was in year one or season one of Excellency Mid League, and he's kind of coming back with a vengeance, 6-0-1. I'm kind of sad for my fantasy because I was not able to pick him up, but again, what a great turnaround by this Glaive Esports bot lane. But God, there's just so much action happening in this game. It's so early on that I can't really keep track of it.
The next dragon is going to be spawning up as Legendary Wolves still kind of down in the hole. There's been a lot of kills going back and forth, but Kiba's been doing his darnest to try to keep Glaive Esports ahead, as right now they're going to be working with about a 4,500 gold lead. This may not be the dragon Legendary Wolves want to fight, but they're all grouped up. We may have a 5v5 here.
They're going for the engage.
The engage comes in, the explosive cast is going to start us off as Glaive Esports with the engage composition is making things happen. Totemax on the back line, not going to be able to finish anyone off, but everyone coming in to make that play happen. Glaive Esports, they want the fight, they want the Drake, and they get everything. What a play there.
Yeah, and you have to question Legendary Wolves' decision making there, because you did not have to fight for that dragon right there. Again, it is going to be third dragon for the side of Glaive Esports, and it does kind of put you on some sort of clock, but Cinder still doesn't have first item completed. Ophelia still doesn't have first item completed. There's a lot of just components, a lot of bargain shopping from the side of Legendary Wolves, so it felt like they kind of wanted to force that fight, thought they could get engaged off, but when you're playing against a Kai'Sa, that's the big thing about Kai'Sa, and that's why Kai'Sa always feels so strong. She's the only AD carry where if she's ahead, she can solo punish you off right there. And you saw Kiba jump into the fight and absolutely just demolish any member of Legendary Wolves that even tried to step up. And it's getting bad to worse, because now, as this mid-game, I mean, it's going to be a 23-minute Ocean Dragon Soul, and you have to contest that. There's just no way you can even try to leave that up. And so it's going to be all on to Raichu and Epic Failblack to try and get some sort of damage, at least before the fight, or for Peekaboo and Fitz to kind of get like a perfect engage.
Yeah, right now I'm just thinking, I completely agree with you, my man. I don't know if they should have taken that drag fight, because even just looking down the roster lineup, Epic Fail Guy, and now Peekaboo finally joining him in the Mythic Club item department, finally gets the Sunfire Aegis locked in and picked up. Skiz had to pick up the Seeker's Arm Guard early, as well as the Tear of the Goddess, waiting and still trying to scale up into the max. Maybe caught out here, does get hit by the Scatter of the Weak, but the Death Mark is going to come out. That's going to be Stopwatch expended as Peekaboo looks to try to get this fight. The Moonlight Vigil did miss, and Totemax is just going to be able to get out.
Yeah, and Totemax gets out, and any sort of reprieve for the side of Legendary Wolves is going to be good. You just want to slow the bleeding as much as possible and hope that you can get to this Ocean Dragon fight with some sort of advantage, some sort of either house lead, some sort of item, not advantage, but kind of anything completed, because we see on the sides of Skiz's instead of Skiz's item pool, he's kind of just sitting on bargain bin items. He doesn't have really anything completed, and Totemax is always in, it's always a threat that Totemax kind of just assassinates him in the side lane, and if that ever happens, it kind of just breaks open the map, and at that point, Legendary Wolves kind of have to scramble to try to find anyone that can kind of match up with a Zed.
Something that's been fantastic that I've noticed so far throughout the first 20 minutes of this game has been Gungeon, the vision control coming out of Glaive Esports. Just looking at the line already, Legendary Wolves can't really see just in the river. None of their vision extends that far. They're working, trying their best to find their way in the dark, and Glaive Esports with this engaged composition, I mean, they couldn't have drawn up their plan better.
Yeah, and this is a little bit scary, because now with Baron coming up in 4 seconds, it looks like Glaive just kind of want to force it here. And there's not much that anybody on the side of Legendary Wolves can do. They don't even have vision close to this objective. So for them, they just feel like Glaive is kind of off the map for a couple seconds. But a couple seconds is all they're going to need to kind of kill this Baron. 20 minutes in, Baron buff's gone for the side of Glaive Esports.
No one even knows. Peekaboo not going to be able to scout that one out. Epic Fail Guy, the blue trinket ward coming in a little late, and Totemax trying to take care of business, but he's getting real low. Going to get burned down a little as cute Raichu barely survives the death mark. close trading there, as on the top side of the map, the rest of the team is splitting up Legendary Wolves beautifully. Multiple members on the bot side opening up things for Kiba and the rest of the team, really where all the gold is at.
Yeah, and again, in terms of just overall gold funneling, Kiba is just so far ahead of Epic Fail Guy right now. Over a 3.6k gold lead. And again, Kaisa is so punishing as a character because she has so many escapes and so many such a big execute with the Kraken Slayer and the Collector at this point. Like, there's nobody on the side of Legend Wolves that can even try to tank her up. So if you want to get that perfect team fight that we're mentioning with the Rel and Jarvan combo, you have to pretty much CC Kiba the entire time. If you give him even a little bit of space, he'll flash away, he'll ulti out, and then you just lose the fight. Oh no.
Cute Raichu gonna get caught out once again, doesn't have flash available this time around. The death mark doesn't even get to pop as Totemax starts off this fight with an absolute blank, and the explosive cast comes through. Miho takes over the fight, but even starts, what an ultimate there. Glaive go legendary as they're wiping up the Legendary Wolves. That's gonna be the big team fight. Ocean Drake now spawning, that's potentially Soul, but with Baron minions knocking on the base, they're gonna start with an inhibitor.
And they're not going to look for the end here, but this should be Inhibitor, this should be Ocean Soul, this is going to be bot lane inner tower as well, and at this point, again, if the fat lady's not singing, she's at least humming, because looks like it's almost lights out for the side of Legendary Wolves. They tried to go for an engage comp, but they just fell too far behind that bot lane, and again, you talked about Akiba's making his triumphant return to Excellency Mid-League, and he's making a statement. He's saying, guys, I let you guys take it easy. All the other AD carries around the league, I let you guys have your fun for the first 7 weeks, but now it's my time. I'm returning, and we're going to make the playoff push.
Don't sleep on the veteran. He's been here before, and Glaive Esports picking things up where they left off in the last season. Kiba 0-8-3, 8-0-3, my bad, other way around. Deathless so far, and certainly making, I think it was Idea who got him for fantasy. He's probably pretty happy with how things are going as my Legendary Wolf stonks. Not ideal, but
oh, no.
I think they're gonna get a peak soon. Don't worry, Cute Raichu, maybe with an outplay, he's getting real low, and Totemax, oh my goodness! You gotta just stay out of his side lane at this point.
Yeah, and that's the problem here, because when you fall this far behind, Totemax is now just tanking everyone's fantasy points. This is just unfair. There's not much you can do, and in terms of just side lane contesting, they have to walk out to try and catch waves, but the fear of Totemax, the fear of just Kiba assassinating you himself is just too much, and now this is kind of just like the procession for the funeral, because Legendary Wolves looks almost dead in the water, and it's just going to be kind of the last finishing touches for the side of Glaive Esports.
Peekaboo gonna try to look for this Wombo combo we've been hoping Legendary Wolves could try to find at some point in this game, but they haven't found a way to make it work. Now Totemax level 15, the Dragonlance flag and drag combo is going to miss there as Miho just escorting these final waves of minions into the top lane. Things are looking grim for Legendary Wolves. They're down 13k gold. Oh. Try to look for the Wombo combo. Now they're trying to get onto Kiba. The explosive cast is going to come out. They're trying to kite for the carry. He's so low. No damage onto him. Epic Fail Guy isn't able to fire down on him. Moonlight Vigil not available right now, and the CC's coming in. Glaive Esports are knocking on the door, and they're busting for game number 1. A huge game. The ace comes through. 25 minutes. Glaive Esports trying to start up their speed run for week number 7.
And this game was just a tale of two bot lanes. Again, we saw the bot lane 2v2 fight over and over and over again, but every time Kiba and Issei just came out on top and they just carried their lead through. And at 24 minutes, it's gonna be Glaive Esports taking the 1-0 in this best of 2.
A clean game, I feel like, for the side of Glaive, because around that second dragon fight, I think that was the one opportunity before that point Legendary Wolves maybe could have found a way to maneuver some sort of trading to try to get back into it. But after that second dragon, not one kill was picked up by the Legendary Wolves.
And honestly, you have to give a lot of credit to McShoots because he kind of controlled that early game so well. Just being there for that bot lane play, just being there as well in mid to kind of open up Totemex, to kind of open up the map as well. But if we're giving match MVP, it has to be Kiba. This guy put an absolute banger of a Kaisa performance on Epic Fail Guy's head, one of my favorite AD carries in the league. And Kiba's kind of saying, again, I talked about it in the cast, you guys had your fun for the first 7 weeks. I'm coming back in. It's like a veteran with his award. He's like, guys, it's time for me to walk into the show. And he kind of took control.
And that's going to do it for the action on the Rift. But I already hear an ecstatic idea PC just waiting for me to toss it back over to the analyst desk. I'm wondering what they're going to talk about. Well, Glaive Esports dominating in game number 1. Idea looking at the fantasy stonks, quite happy. Let's see what him and Stone have to say.